I will now like to invite Rabbi Hillel Cohn to address us. Rabbi Cohn is a native of Berlin, Germany. He and his family escaped Nazi Germany in 1939, coming to the United States as refugees. He was raised in the Pacific Northwest and here in Southern California. He received a BA in political science from UCLA and a Bachelor and Master of Hebrew Letters, as well as Rabbinic ordination from Hebrew Union College in Cincinnati. In 1963, he was ordained. He joined Congregation Emmanuel here in Riverside in 1963 as assistant rabbi, and then he served as Kol Rabbi and also senior rabbi, retiring in 2001. But that didn't stop him. After that, he served as a rabbi for congregations in Las Vegas and Palm Desert. He earned a doctor ministry degree from the Claremont School of Theology and has been awarded Honorary Doctor of Divinity from Hebrew Union College and Honorary Doctor of Humane Letters from Cal State San Bernardino. Rabbi Cohn has been involved in many community organizations and interfaith organizations. He was a regular participant on Religion on the Line on KABC Radio in Los Angeles and produced and hosted 50 television programs on The Many Faces of San Bernardino, which was a project of the Human Relations Committee of the city. He currently serves on the Diocesan Healthcare Committee of the Roman Catholic Diocese of San Bernardino, is a member of the Priest-Rabbi Dialogue, and serves on numerous commissions, councils, and NGOs, including Planned Parenthood, the Hillel Council, and Making Hope Happen. Rabbi Cohn, please.
Thank you very much. I must tell you that I am awestruck by what I'm experiencing today. The beauty of this place, the sounds that we heard as we assembled, fill me with awe, and all I can do is respond with words that come from the scriptures, from the book of Psalms. The psalmist said, Zeh hayom asa Adonai, Nagila v'nismachavo, this is the day which God has made. Therefore we rejoice and are glad because of it. And with that I would join the other words of the psalmist who wrote, Hine matov umanayim, shevet achim gam yachad, how good and how pleasant it is for sisters and brothers to gather together in unity. And may the gathering here be reflected in what we do outside of this place, outside of our holy places, what we do in our day-to-day lives. The theme of your conference, love and service, are words that resonate in all of our traditions, but each perhaps in a somewhat different way. When I think of love in the Jewish tradition, I think not only of words that come out of our holy scriptures, but also that come out of our liturgical practice. Words like ahavat Torah, that one is commanded, mandated to be a lover of Torah, not just the first 5 books of Hebrew scriptures, not just the Hebrew scriptures, but all wisdom as it has come to us from the worlds of science, the worlds of culture, the entire world in which we live. To be those who respect and admire and care about wisdom. And along with that, the words that are so fundamental to Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Buddhism, words that were expressed in the scriptures in the book of Leviticus, V'ahavta l're'echa kamocha, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. A commandment to not just be loving to the person next to you or the person in this world, but also to one's self, to appreciate oneself, to be respectful of who one is so that we may then be respectful of others whom we meet on life's way. Ahavat olam, love of the world, not just of olam eternity, but olam the world, a love of the world. And as was told to us in the introductory message by Dr., love of the plants, the vegetation, the mountains, the valleys, all of nature, and love of culture, music, art, literature, drama, dance, those things that bring meaning to our lives. And how does all of that come together? It comes together in what we call in our various faiths, but in my faith we call it the love of God, where we're commanded, Ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, you shall love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your might. And how does one express that love? By striving to become a more godly person, a godlike person. I want to share a quote with you that comes from a contemporary colleague of mine, one whose words have meant a great deal to people as they make their way particularly through the sorrows of life. Rabbi Harold Kushner, the author of the classic work, When Bad Things Happen to Good People. Not why bad things, but when bad things happen. We don't have the answer to the why, but we do have the answer to the when. He once wrote, a loving parent does not show genuine love by telling a child, do whatever you want. That would not indicate love, but lack of concern or an abdication of responsibility. The truly loving parent says to the child, I care very much about you, and although I cannot live your life for you, I want you to have the benefit of my experience. And Rabbi Kushner goes on to say that Jews understood from the beginning that Judaism was a religion of love because it did not leave one to find the way through life alone and unaided. It offered advice, insight, and experience. And it was out of God's love and concern for Israel, the Jewish people, that God gave them the Torah so that, though stumbling blindly, they might be aided by its principles and take heed of its warnings, and thus draw closer to God. I have been struck for a long time and shared particularly often with couples that stand under the chuppah, the marriage canopy with me, words that come out of the Hasidic world of a couple centuries ago. There was a rabbi, Moshe Leib of Sasov, who inquired, what does love really mean? And went to all of the experts of his time. It would be as if in one's day to day, one would go to the sociologists and the psychologists and the economists and everything, not satisfied with what love really meant. And in his travels, he stopped at a small inn and overheard a conversation between two simple peasants. And one peasant said to the other, tell me, brother, do you love me? The other said, of course I do. He said, no, tell me, brother, do you love me? He said, sure, I already answered that. He asked it a third time and received a say. He says, if you love me, tell me what gives me pain. The other said, how would I know that? He says, if you don't know what gives me pain, how can you say you love me? To love one's neighbor, that rabbi taught, is to know what gives that person pain and to bear the burden of that person's sorrow, to which I would add, it's also to know that person's joy and that person's fulfillment. That's what really being human and godlike is all about. And the second of your theme, service, in my tradition, it's probably expressed best in a teaching of the ancient rabbi who a couple thousand years ago wrote, Lo ha-midrash ha'ikar ela ha-maaseh. It's not the belief that counts, it's the act that counts. It's what you do that really makes a difference. And what action, what service is required? Perhaps it was best expressed by the prophet Micah, who said, to do justly and to love mercy and to walk humbly with the Lord your God. So let me conclude by sharing with you a passage from a liturgical volume used in some synagogues, and that is this. To be just is to be angry when justice is violated. To be just is to choose just means to right wrongs. To be just is to wish that the guilty be convicted and the innocent acquitted. To be just is to withhold judgment until the facts are known. To be just is to give every person the benefit of any doubt. To be just is to listen to all opinions. To be just is to demand justice for others as well as for yourself. To be just is to desire that the rights of all shall be respected. To be just is to desire that the needs of all shall be satisfied. To be just is to disbelieve that the rich deserve to be rich and the poor deserve to be poor. To be just is to disbelieve that the successful are more to be respected than the unsuccessful. To be just is to reverence the divine image in every single human being. To be just is to work for a society in which these ideals are realized. We're told that we may not have an answer to what happens after we die, but we do imagine that when a person is brought to judgment in the world, questions will be asked. Did you conduct your life with integrity? Did you set aside fixed times for increasing and enhancing your knowledge? Did you occupy yourself with raising a family? Did you work for universal peace? And did you acquire understanding? If the answers to these questions is yes, then indeed you have expressed a love of God. Amen.